I'm recording.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Sound Good podcast. I'm your host Michael.
I'm Micah.
And on today's episode, we're going to be talking about the two albums So Many Ways to Not Say Anything by With Iowa in Between, and the new Nothing album, Dance on the Blacktop. Both of these albums came out rather recently, I think in August for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
The 7th and 24th, respectively. So without further ado...
We've basically switched over.
Yeah. Go ahead.
We basically switched over to basically just like within a month releases at this point.
I think 3 months is probably...
I know, but okay.
Yeah. Currently, like the past couple episodes have been like within a month, but we're going to try and stick within the last 3 months. So
please, because it's really hard to find. Hey man, what about 3.5?
What about 3.5? Okay, maybe 3.5. 3.5 might be. So
Bandcamp's hard, man.
Yeah, right. So we're going to do it a little differently than the other episodes. Micah is actually going to introduce his album that he recommended to me first, and then I will... we're basically just swapping the order.
Well, we did last episode. I figured...
Did we do it last episode too?
Yeah, let's like just do...
okay.
At least another one in that order, just so it's not like weird.
Yeah, sure. Sure, why not? Go ahead, dude. Start us off.
Yeah, I was browsing Bandcamp and mostly the post-rock section because I really dig it. There's a lot of really good instrumental in there, which is frustrating for the podcast, but you know. But the art for this album, Dance on the Blacktop by Nothing, was very striking to me, to say the least. And it's basically somebody... I can't specify. I'm assuming it's one of the guys in the band, but he's wearing like a very not well-fitting female mask.
Yeah, it's a really poorly fitting mask of a woman's face. It's very unsettling album work, honestly.
They know.
It bothers me too because it's not what I expected to hear from this band.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, it's the third album. I guess they're considered shoegaze. So it was released on Relapse Records, and you were probably, before we started, you heard me double-checking Relapse, because as far as I've always been concerned, Relapse has always had the extreme grindcore and death metal bands that have always made me uncomfortable. Like, their videos always make me uncomfortable. Like, I would watch a video and go, wow, I feel grossed out. Oh, it was on Relapse's channel, okay.
Wow, surprise.
So, in terms of visual presentation and even like that vinyl art, like the flesh color,
flesh and brunette,
they're fitting the aesthetic, but the sound does not sound like Relapse. Like, I would never think shoegaze would be on Relapse Records.
Yeah, I was actually hella surprised when I listened to this album, because after you recommended it, I looked it up, and the first thing you see with every album was the album art. And I thought, I didn't listen to it right away, because I was just adding it to my list of things to listen to. And immediately I saw the album art, and I was like, oh, cool. Micah found, some more really good, like, synthwave or some kind of electronic music, because it looks like a very... who was the artist? Aphex Twin. Yeah, the album art reminded me a lot of, like, Aphex Twin, almost, and, like, it's very unsettling to look at.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I assumed you had just found some new, like, IDM music, like a new, like, I don't know if you know what IDM is. It's that stupid subgenre of EDM where they replace electronic dance music with intelligent dance music. It's supposed to be like EDM that's makes you think, it's a weird EDM, experimental.
Yeah, it probably didn't help that at the time I was also gushing over that Master Boot record.
Yeah, which is exactly why I made that connection. But anyway, no, it was really cool, like, digging into the album and realizing it was not a electronic album, and instead it was what I would call their sound on this album. At least I would call it like if Def Heaven got Chino Moreno from the Deftones to do their vocals, and
yeah,
it's a really good mix in my opinion. I love shoegaze. Like, I'm a big fan of My Bloody Valentine and like Whir, and all these other bands that are just really noisy shoegazy stuff. So I was actually really glad when I turned on this album and I was like, oh, this is shoegaze. Hell yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and speaking of Def Heaven, I guess I think Def Heaven, it may fit that they've had some releases from Relapse. I'm curious because we know that they have connections to the bassist from Def Heaven, right? That we found out?
Yes, yeah.
So I'm wondering if it was
Heaven's
just a connection
bassist.
and that's how they got signed to a label, as if they knew the dude from, or had a member from Def Heaven, you know?
Yeah, maybe.
That would make a lot more sense for
Yeah.
why this would be there.
I just know that this album starts off like really strong with 0 Day. Like,
Yeah.
That track is such a good opening track. I didn't realize there was like an 8-minute long song on it.
Oh wow, I didn't notice that either.
Yeah, the second to last song is like nearly 8 minutes. The one downside I will say about this album, and I will say this about almost every shoegaze album,
Yeah.
is that the songs can get kind of repetitive.
Yeah.
Because a lot of shoegaze is just, hey, let me throw 5 different delays, 3 different distortions, 2 fuzz pedals, and then a reverb on my guitar chords. So it's like it kind of doesn't wash out throughout the album, but it makes me less conscious of when songs change. So I can say I did enjoy the album as a whole, but I can't really pick out a specific song that I'm a big fan of. I think Us We Are was a really good one. If I'm thinking of it being the right song.
That name stands out to me. I think maybe that was around it. But it is also at the halfway point, so that could have been when you were like checking your
maybe
phone at the same time. Or like checking the track list.
I do
like
know,
how far in am I?
Yeah, right. I do know Blue Line Baby was actually really good. That was a very strong second track in my opinion. Just the way that like this album is shoegaze, but it's not traditional shoegaze kind of. Like when I say it sounds like Def Heaven, like I'm straight up saying like take Def Heaven, remove the blast beats, and that's this band, like this album at least. And it's not a bad thing. I'm actually very glad that it sounds as similar to Def Heaven as it does, because I was not a big fan of the most recent Def Heaven album.
Yeah, I never checked it out.
Yeah.
Because you said you didn't like it. I mean, and that kind of thing, I would trust your word immediately because...
It's just one of those things where they, whatever. I just wasn't a big fan of that album very much, so it was nice to hear a release that sounded similar to what I was expecting from the Def Heaven album, and then I got through this other band.
Yeah.
But yeah, very interesting band. They are quite a bit bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah, I didn't think this would be their third album.
Yeah, right.
And then also just all that merch because, yeah, like I mentioned, like they had a really limited vinyl edition that looks like it's covered in like still wet blood and flesh and stuff, and it's sold out. So
out of 100.
There's that.
It's crazy.
There's like 3 other variants that are also cool. But
yeah, do you want to talk about the vinyl at all, real quick? I mean, because it's going to be a lot of just me repeating pretty much. So,
what is this? A shoegaze discussion?
Yeah.
Heyo. You get it?
Yeah.
You get it though? No, I'm asking the audience. Did they get it?
Oh, probably. I don't know. Audience, do you get it? What audience? Anyway.
There's a really cool lipstick red and mascara splatter, which in actual words that just means it's covered in red and black paint on a white vinyl.
That's cool.
It's easy to understand. And worth mentioning, I really love their logo. It's like a capital N, like hardcore with
just like random ass lines on
like Times New Roman N, but then there's like some extra lines thrown in the middle. so it looks really neat. Kind of reminds me of, I don't know, just the way that it looks. I kind of think of the Majesty logo a tiny bit.
Yeah. Now that you mentioned that, yeah, I totally see that.
Just it invokes that same, like, that thought at the very least. And then there's a really cool vinyl that's, okay, I lied. Well, to me, it's less cool, but Michael thinks it's really cool. Of some gold and white splatter.
Oh, come on, man. Don't just call it gold and white. It's yellow, orange, and white on a milky clear vinyl. And it's
is that the burning...
What is it? Yeah, burning carnation. Yeah.
Chrysanthemum?
Chrysanthemum, yeah. Chrysanthemum. Not carnation. Different flower. Ooh. Same letter.
I kind of enjoy the simplicity of the solid black vinyl, too, though.
Yeah. See, the thing is, I don't think I personally would ever buy this vinyl, because then I have to look at that album art every time.
So, I don't like the album art, but just the way that the book
the gatefold.
The gatefold looks really cool.
Yeah.
It kind of, yeah.
No, yeah, I like how it's just open up like that, yeah. But yeah, man, this album art though, it's so creepy. Like I could not stand having that on my shelf. Yeah. And then like walking into my like living room and seeing that and just going,
Yeah, I would frame it. I wonder if they have posters available.
Oh god.
When's your birthday?
No. Not happening.
Damn.
But yeah, like I don't know, it's a really good album. Decent shoegaze, especially because you don't hear a lot of decent shoegaze in now times. Like everything's just kind of watered down. It feels like in the genre.
Is this what shoegaze typically sounds like? I've never been clear on that.
Because
I feel like this was more on the like grungier, rockier side. You know?
No, definitely not.
Like because it reminded me of like I immediately thought of Deftones. You know.
If you want a good example of what shoegaze is like, quote unquote, supposed to sound like, go listen to like. I can't remember if it's Whirr or Bliss, Bliss.
Okay.
I don't think Bliss is the band. But Whirr definitely, Whirr. Whirr and like My Bloody Valentine are like what people think, quote unquote, like what people think shoegaze is supposed to sound like. Like it's just really just any kind of chord driven, effect heavy rock with usually like effects on the vocals and stuff too, which the vocalist in Nothing is actually hella good and hella interesting to listen to as well. I liked the mix a lot on this album. It mixed way better than I keep comparing this album to the most recent Deftones album, but it's really the only...
Do you mean the Deaf Heaven?
Deaf Heaven, not Deftones, thank you. Deftones and Deaf Heaven, dude, come on. The most recent Deaf Heaven album, but it's really like, it's just one of those things where, because they sound so similar, I feel like I have to compare them in this way, but the vocals were actually at a decent level on this Nothing album, as opposed to other albums that sound similar to it, like Deaf Heaven's most recent album, where the vocals were just completely drowned out by all the other effects that were going on at the time. Yep. And that's kind of a lame thing in the Deaf Heavens situation, but I am just very glad that they actually got like a good mix for this Dance on the Blacktop album.
I feel like that comes out in hectic music that has a lot of blast beats a lot of the time too, though. Because my other thought, we were talking about this, is Insomnium has that issue too. And you're just like, it's so cool, but I can't hear what you're saying. And I double checked. Deaf Heaven does not appear to have any relation to Relapse Records, so I am baffled as to why they are on this record label.
Yeah, right.
Honestly,
I mean, it's the same thing as what's that one dubstep artist getting signed to Sumerian?
Oh, really?
Borgor, I believe. Yeah, Sumerian signed a dubstep artist like 10 years ago. Not 10 years ago, like 8 years ago, probably.
It was like a billion years ago.
Yeah, it was long enough ago to where I don't care anymore. But yeah, I mean, that's really all I got to say about the album, dude. It's a really solid shoegaze album. Like I said, the tracks do get a little samey. However, I do think that the enjoyment you will get out of listening to the album is like outweighs the monotony.
It's a good single experience, especially for the first listen.
Yeah, I mean,
would you listen to it again?
Oh hell yeah! Oh yeah! Like
okay,
definitely. Like I mean, that's just because I like shoegaze though. Like this is my kind of music. Like,
okay,
this is akin to me, you know, you suggesting an emo album and being like, "Are you gonna listen to that again?" I'm just gonna go, oh, "No."
Well, no, it's funny that I recommended it and it's going like this because I don't know that I would listen to it again. Like, I really, that's why I was saying it's a really good first like single experience to listen to it, but I don't know that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I enjoyed listening to it every time I listened to it. So,
but then again, I am still a baby with shoegaze too. I'm trying to figure it out.
Just a little baby.
Little baby boot shoegaze.
So,
hey man, we just talked about nothing for 14 minutes.
Yeah, wow, how'd we do that? I thought you weren't going to make those jokes, Micah. So,
hey, if we talk about stuff and no one's around to hear it, didn't we actually talk about nothing though?
Shut up. Shut up. Just shut up.
I'm sorry.
All right, so we'll just go into talking about the other album for this episode then.
All I wanted to do was build a home for you, but I can't leave my bed.
Alright, so the other album on this episode is going to be So Many Ways to Not Say Anything by With Iowa in Between. Now, this band is a band I heard of through a local house venue. They actually booked them towards the end of, I believe it was the end of July or the beginning of August. However, or no, it was towards the end of August because it was after this album had come out.
Yeah, they're from...
they are from Minneapolis, Minnesota. And they are an emo, indie, whatever you want to call that kind of music. I'm going to call it emo.
It's pretty fucking emo.
They're an emo band outfit. But this album came out on August 7th, and it was released by Brave Cove Records, which I have never heard of, but I am definitely going to look into now more that I know music like this is on that label.
I'm surprised that it's not an independent release in general, honestly.
Right. But yeah, it's only, you can only get this stuff off Bandcamp. I don't believe it's on any streaming services, or I'm sure you can buy whatever from the label if it has a website, or the Brave Cove Records. But it looks like this is mostly a self-release, despite being put out by Brave Cove. There's no vinyl for it. There is, however, a CD and two different. Is there two different? I think there's two different tape colors, maybe.
No,
that must be something else I was looking at then. But yeah, so it's just a CD and a tape that you can get for physical copies of this album. But I found this through a locally booked show and decided to go listen to the music because I couldn't make it to the show, and I fell in love with this band / album. So
I can't believe you didn't go to their show.
I was busy.
You butthole.
I was so mad. I was so sad I couldn't go.
Well.
But yeah, so what did you think of it, Micah?
Well, it's Midwest emo through and through.
True.
But I appreciated that it didn't have a lot of... It has a lot of the sound tropes, I guess, but not a lot of the actual song structure and, I guess, melody tropes for this genre of music, I guess. And I just always fall back on the vibes that I always get from like tiny moving parts and stuff because I'm a jerk, I really love their use of two singers.
Yeah,
for sure.
Yeah, that's. I'm glad you commented on that because I absolutely love the vocals on this album.
Yeah, there's really good harmonies.
I said it before we recorded, but everybody who does vocals in this band, I just want to give you all a big smooch on the cheek because it's amazing, and I love the harmonies and I love the vocals that everybody who does vocals on this album does. Yep. Especially on Victoria. Thank you for those intro harmonies.
I was gonna say Victoria was probably my favorite track. I'll probably say
easily,
that.
Easily.
It was a really good tension and release kind of thing, and I think I feel like they probably do a really good job with that across all the songs where there's really good moments where the music picks up, you know?
Yeah.
But it's not like super, like you're never going to really headbang maybe, but it just,
it's
the
less
feeling
like,
is there.
I think it's less headbangy, more just like head boppy.
Yeah.
To where you just kind of like, you just bob your head like...
You're kind of flowing with it, and then you start kind of boppy with it. Yeah.
Twist
it. Slam it.
Oh my god. Pull it.
Dab it.
Pass it.
Did you know they added dab it to that?
What?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, dude.
Oh man.
Can
we just end the episode now? You just bum me out.
And I forgot, so maybe emo is a little too confining for them, because either the first track, Billy Hargrove, or Phone Home, I forget which, it gets super punky.
Yeah.
For sure. The female singer, she can really like get in there with some fast punk, you know?
Dude, there's some
she has some good
screams
yells
on this album too. Like some yells or screams,
and it's just her.
There's some good harsh vocals on this album that are like definitely noteworthy. Like I listened to this album again just this morning, like right when I woke up. Like I straight up woke up, didn't even get out of bed, grabbed my phone, threw the album on, and I forgot those were in there. And like they happened, like the yells like happened, and I just went, oh.
Yeah, I think there's only.
I think
I don't want to be rude.
Home.
Victoria was cool because there were some great. That's one that had really cool vocal harmonies between the two singers, right?
Like everywhere.
They're only in really specific places, honestly. Victoria definitely had it, but then by Usher.
Usher. By Usher.
Usher.
That's such a good
that'd be totally
title.
Different if it was by Usher, though. That'd be Prague.
Cover cover idea.
They kind of normally I would probably feel it's kind of cheesy, kind of like that really bad Meatloaf song. What is it? Don't Go Breaking My Heart.
Oh no.
Yeah, but there's like it. The vocals and lyrics are written in such a way where it's kind of like the female and male voices are like talking to each other, but here it's not cringy at all. Like it just sounds really cool. And it really, like, I think the emo side of it really helps because just the lyrical content.
Yeah,
but yeah, it was a cute little thing. I'm interested to check out their other albums for sure.
Yeah, I definitely think if they come through your town or near you, definitely go and see them.
This is definitely their best album art for sure.
I can only imagine what they sound like live if their EPs sound this good.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, this sounds pretty raw, so I feel like this is what they sound like live for the most part.
Or hopefully, probably better.
I doubt that this is overproduced.
Oh yeah, no, definitely not. It does not sound that. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned the production of it because for a small release such as this, it does have really good production quality. But it also doesn't sound like I'm going to use a phrase that's probably going to sound offensive, but it's not. But it doesn't sound music industry standard. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean though. Like, I don't mean that like in a bad way. I just mean like in that way where it doesn't sound like 5 different producers have touched this album, you know, or even more than one person's more than one producer's touched the album because
for sure
it just sounds like it's a very intimate sounding recording, just in quality and content.
Like obviously they did touch it up.
Yeah.
They're on a label and
yeah.
I feel like they utilized that, but I don't think that they really messed with it that much. I feel like they recorded it with really good conditions and that was kind of it, you know.
It kind of still manages to maintain the feel of a DIY recording. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, it's a pretty short album, so pretty short review of it. It's like 25 minutes, I think, or something.
9. That's like 17 minutes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, even better.
Yeah, it's a nice little quick experience.
Yeah. So, did you like it? Would you listen to it again? Would you recommend it to your friends?
I don't know. I don't know any friends. So I don't know who I would recommend it to. If I had a friend, yes, I would recommend it to him. Hey, Michael. But hey.
Yeah? Oh.
You heard of this band with Iowa in between the Buried and Me? Check that clock.
God damn
Reset it.
I hate you.
Sorry, I saw a joke and I went for it. This is why I don't have friends.
God, can't go an episode without mentioning Between the Buried and Me, man. It's true. Holy shit.
I'm going to find a way.
I'm sure you will.
That means I can @Tommy every episode.
All right. Well, I guess that does it for this episode, right? Unless you got anything else you want to say?
They kind of remind me of, maybe just in spirit, like I just kind of think of Mess in that scene a lot. I know it's because it is that scene, but
I feel
it's fun.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, go check out our first episode for Mess if you want to know what I'm talking about.
Our very first episode.
Yeah. It's the best episode. Objectively.
From the kitchen, I see you stick in your left hand. You're battling all of the bad guys.
All right, that does it for another episode. Thanks for checking us out. Make sure to give us a like on Facebook, follow us on Twitter, Google Play, iTunes, subscribe to us there on YouTube as well. And we'll have another episode for you next week.
Me from you, and I'm busy throwing my guts up in the sink.